So many people are doing all the inner work that they need to do. They've started down the process of understanding that we are the creators of our own reality. And they study this subject like scientists. But for many people, they're doing this work and they've set their goals, they've set their intentions, they found this release of energy when they've written down a goal and it's way outside of what they perceive they can achieve right now, what they believe they can achieve for themselves. And maybe they've done a bit of work on their belief system, but they still getting the same result. The same results seem to be looping over and over, and it's frustrating the heck out of it. I know, because I've been through this process so many times myself, and I have to catch myself when this happens to remind myself of actually how the process of transformation works. So we like to call it, Anne and I, my business partner and I, we like to call it the conscious flywheel. This effect that we create when we make a decision to go after what it is that we need to go to our next level so we can experience fulfillment while we're on this planet. Experiencing fulfillment is the only reason that keeps us moving forward. If you think about it, we are just pure desire, wanting to experience joy and happiness in our life. That's all we want. But when we live in this 1% realm of physical reality, this limited world that we live in, the problem with this world is that it's full of good and bad. It's full of ups and downs and excitement and loss or feeling of lack and limitation. But when we go into this endless world of possibility, this dream world that people think is not reality, well, it is reality, because everything first is created in the mind. Then it becomes part of our physical experience of the world. I mean, there was a period when people didn't even know what a virus was. We didn't have the capacity or the ability to work out what a virus was, but it had complete control of our lives even back then, even when we didn't know what a virus was, when we didn't even know what bacteria was. We couldn't identify it because we didn't have the tools and we didn't have the understanding to work it out. But it still controlled our lives. Just like gravity, we understand if we stand on the side of a cliff, if we step off, it's not going to end well. So we've got these invisible forces that we're living with, but we don't necessarily know or understand how to incorporate them into our lives. So I want to talk to you about a step in this process, this flywheel effect that we talk about all the time. Because when you've got a picture in your mind of how manifestation works, then the process becomes simpler. It's not necessarily easier because there's difficult times that we need to go through, and we have to go through it as part of our learning process, as part of the process of transformation, to go from where we are in a level of life that's causing us some joy and some frustration. And this is for people that understand that they've actually got more in them. They want to experience more of life. They know they have the capacity to, but they just don't know how to make it work. They don't have the mechanism to go forward. So I'll give you just one simple idea today, and maybe give you some tools to just grasp that it's part of the process. So there's the time when we feel this frustration in our life. Maybe it's lack of money. Let's say it's lack of money. That's an easy one because it's measurable. And say you're earning 50 grand a year, and you say you want to go to 75 or 80, 85 or 100 grand, whatever the number is, it actually doesn't matter. So let's say that you're earning 150K a year and you want to go to 190K. And so this is a small jump. It's not a massive jump. It's not like a lot of people that get into this work and they're earning 40 grand a year and they say, oh, they want to be a millionaire by the end of the year. That can happen. It can certainly happen. But there's a process to everything. I'm not saying that it's limited by time, because in the infinite realm, of possibility, there is no time. So when we grasp these, then our manifestation, our ability to manifest endless growth happens quicker. But it is a process, just like when we were a child. When we were born, we didn't know how to walk. Then we learned how to walk. We didn't know how to write. Then we learned how to write. We didn't know our times table. Then we learned our times table. And it didn't happen straight away. It wasn't instant. There was a process. And one of the ideas with manifestation of endless growth is give yourself time to understand the rules of the game. When you understand the rules of the game, which are, they defy all logic. They do not make sense when you start to learn them. But when you apply them, don't believe a word I'm saying, just apply what I'm saying, give it a go, and you'll see that it makes a difference. So has everything always worked out for me? No, I lost a business at the age of 35 after having been part of a business that listed on the stock exchange. I'd opened a number of businesses before that, and then one just, it worked. The manifestation of endless growth worked at that point in my life. I was young, I was like 26 years old. Where I come from, I was a farm boy. So how would I know? I didn't go to university to figure this stuff out. That, I think maybe I was lucky. I think I learned a lot from my mother, who lived intuitively. She lived with faith, and it served her to an extent. She didn't ever have money in her life, which was a lesson I learned at a young age. That's not how I wanted to live. So I decided that I didn't want to live like that. And I've got, my siblings are the same. We all grew up in a very poor home. With multiple fathers and stepfathers and so on, and living in multiple homes. And you know, me and my siblings, we didn't want that when we left home and so on. So we changed our life as a result of that. So I'm very grateful to our parents, because they taught us how we didn't want to live our lives. But going back to this point of this missing step in the process of transformation that's not talked about a lot is that we're living a dual reality at any moment in time. But one of the teachers that I love reading is a guy by the name of Neville Goddard, and his life was very interesting, but he speaks about this duality. And if you think about it, it makes absolute logical sense. So we have 5 senses that interpret what's going on in the physical world that we're experiencing every moment. But when we understand that our 5 senses don't tell us the whole story, that there is this invisible realm of endless possibility within our minds. And when we grasp that, absolutely accept that is a very real part of our lives, then when we finally make a decision to step out of this paradigm that we're living in right now, I see this paradigm as like a circle, and if you think of the outer circle as like a boundary that constrains what's possible for you right now, because that's the limits of what you believe is possible for your life in this invisible realm. But when you start stepping beyond that and saying, well, if someone else can live a bigger life than I'm living right now, so can I. There's nothing stopping me other than my conscious awareness of what's possible for me. What Elon Musk believes is possible and what I believe is possible is only a difference in consciousness. That's all it is. So when I learn to shift my consciousness, when you learn to shift your consciousness, as Bob Proctor used to say, shift your paradigm, then you grow your capacity to receive more of this wonderful, infinite, endless energy from the universe. That's we increase our capacity to receive more. So when we start, we make a decision, and we become very intentional. I always talk about, every 24 hours, you just become very intentional. You're like, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, you're a creator, you're a founder of your business, that energy that you bring into your business is what creates the business. It flows through everything in your staff, in your customers, in the product or the service that you deliver. everything is about the energy that you bring to your business. So when you expand your capacity to receive more of this energy from the universe, then all that happens is that you allow your enterprise to expand. And this is really important to understand, because if you want to achieve more than you're achieving right now, that is as possible for every single human being. Right now, it's absolutely possible for everyone. We're the only handbrake to our success. It's our thinking. So if you imagine you wanted to go to the Olympics and participate in one of the sports at an Olympic level, and you thought, well, if I'm going to go to the Olympics, why not go for gold? Why not get a gold in the area that I'm specializing in? In business, why not go for gold? Why not intend to be the best at what you do and what you deliver, at the service that you provide in your category? Why not? There's nothing stopping you from constantly improving, innovating in the area that you have chosen in your life, the area that you enjoy. And so when you make a decision that you want to go to your next level, what happens? It's quite interesting, is that initially you get this burst of energy, and it's almost as if the universe is giving you a boost of energy to encourage you to move forward. So you become intentional. You start waking up every day. This is what I'm going to do. What can I do today? You ask yourself that question all the time. What can I do next? What can I do next? And what happens quite quickly, it's almost as if everything starts to be thrown at you, and you hit this wall of resistance. This is part of the process. If you think about it, when a child is learning to walk, when they stand up first, they'll have wobbly legs, they'll fall down. Stand up again, wobbly legs, fall down. Over the course of a period of time, they'll take their first step, then the next, and before you know it, they're walking. It is no different to developing the idea in your business, the business that you have, the enterprise you have, no different. There's going to be some of what you initiate in your business is going to be a success. Some of it's not. But it doesn't mean when you hit this resistance that you step back and say, well, this is BS, it's not for me. It's not true. What it is a natural part of the evolutionary process of anything. There is an element of resistance. So if we look at this, what I call the conscious flywheel, it is, I call it point number 3, where you hit this resistance. And I've got 8 points that go around, and each one of those points represents a part of the process of manifestation. And so when you hit this resistance, for an individual, it's part of the cleansing process, a part of the adjustment process of getting rid of limiting beliefs. So we might hit a resistance with going to your next level, that you're not good enough, you don't have enough skills, and you might start to believe that resistance. Or you might say, okay, I get this, I don't feel good about this, I don't feel like I feel like that I'm out of my comfort zone here. You could say, well, that's the truth, and step back and stay where you are, stay in your lane. Or you can step up and say, okay, what can I do next? How can I reskill so I can go to my next level? So there's a practical thing you can do. But on a conscious level, on a spiritual level, you're staying in the flow of growth, of expanding your consciousness. So the missing step that I want to bring to your attention, not many people talk about this, is this duality, is that when we start to move down the process of going to your next level, you've set the goal, you've set the vision, you've got the vision board, you've been intentional. That's all up in your new plan for your life, but you still have existing momentum from your existing reality showing up every day saying nothing's changed. And you can do one or two things, and we all do it. We're looking at the results we're getting right now. We made the decision yesterday that we want to go to our next level, and today we wake up and we might be going to our next level financially, and we're not doing very well financially, and the next day we get hit with a massive tax bill, which was unexpected, and you think, this is not working. Well, you've only given it 12 hours. So we've got to understand that there is a time, and who knows what that is. It's going to be different for everyone, but you've created what we call this conscious space of, you've made a decision, immediately you create this conscious space to nurture this new idea to go to this next level. And it's almost like a womb. It's a spiritual womb to nurture your new idea, and you just got to protect it. Okay, so you're protecting it. It doesn't seem like, there's no evidence of anything changing 12 hours later, 24 hours later, 48 hours later. It's it might be weeks later, it might be years later, it might be a health issue. I've had chronic health issues. I know my business partner has, and we've had to deal with these over a period of time. Mine has been for years, but I've always maintained that it is just part of the process, and that I will evolve out of it. I'll get through it, and I have. When I was diagnosed with whatever I was diagnosed with, the doctors were showing me evidence of people only living for about 5 years, and they had the best medical science, blah blah blah. That was 10 years ago. I just said, that's fine. That's them. If it's my time to go in 5 years, I'll go. It doesn't matter. But I'm still here, and I'm going strong. I'm thinking about running a half marathon. And when I got diagnosed, I couldn't walk to the toilet from the couch. So, we can believe what we want to believe. So some people say that being foolhardy, that science has got all the answers. Well, that's what you want to believe. That's fine. I think we can use science to the best of its ability, and we can use this invisible realm of possibility to our best of our ability as well. So going back to this missing step that's not talked about enough, is that there is this momentum from your past thinking that's giving you the results that you're getting right now in your physical reality. And you've set in motion a new level that you want to go to. You have to be faithful to the decision you've made to go to your next level, to recognize that everything that's happening in this reality comes from thinking in the past, and that will peter out over time, and that you will shift to a new reality when the time is right, when you've managed to work out of you the limiting beliefs, the negative reactive thinking that is keeping you at this level that you're at right now, and you'll move to the next level. What happens when you move to the next level? You start again. You make a new decision to go to the next level. And there is a process. We teach this process over and over and over, and it's very simple, but it's not easy, because when you hit the resistance, it can be very painful. It could be a health challenge. It could be a financial challenge. I love what my business partner, Anna Harris, says. When the universe wants your attention in business, the money tap is turned off. I love that, because that creates all kinds of pain straight away for a business owner. There's no money coming in, there's payments to be made, and there doesn't ever seem to be enough, and it just puts people under enormous pressure. But when we change the way that we think, and where we focus on and direct our attention, our results start to shift. It doesn't make any sense, but this is how it works. Okay, so I was writing about this morning, and I really like this subject. So the first thing that you can do, this is practical. I like to give practical ideas that you can work on and implement right away. So I suggest you do this. When you feel that you're in a painful place and you don't know why, it might be health, it might be finances, it might be a relationship. Notice what you're saying to yourself. Are you looking for the evidence to prove that it's not going to happen? That the new idea that you've set in motion, that you made a decision to go to your next level, that you're looking for the evidence to prove that it's not going to happen? Or Because remember, your words are communicating to the universe. Your words are causing you to feel in a certain way, and how you feel, feelings drive our behavior. Our emotions drive behavior. So the words that we use, if they are negative, they are melancholy, you figure it out. If you refuse to go down that and be caught up with that sort of wording, I'm not suggesting I'm a big fan of affirmations, because affirmations can work in the reverse. You could be speaking it up all you want, but your subconscious is saying, yeah, whatever, I don't believe it. But you can use words that will get past any negative, deep-seated beliefs in your subconscious mind that are contrary to where you want to go. And one of them is, I like to say, is how can I allow this decision that I've made to flow into my life? How can I allow this goal that I've set for myself flow into my life? You're asking a question, and straight away your subconscious goes to work for you to find the answers. So if you keep asking a question like that, it's a better question than saying, well, this isn't working. Because when you say it isn't working because you've got this physical result, you've got this bill showing up, you've got this negative in your bank account, and it's a big red, and you've got no cash to pay your staff, when you're using that, you're going nowhere. You're going to stay where you are. That's just what it is. You can't force your way. Well, you can, but you'll exhaust yourself. But when you start to use words, how can I allow the universe to flow into my life, to show me and guide me in rectifying this situation or going to my next level, you're going to start opening up new answers coming to you. All right. We need to accept that the resistance we feel is quite quickly a part of the learning process. So if we take that flywheel effect in our mind, this circular area that I like to form in my mind, it starts with a decision at the top, then it goes to becoming very intentional, then, understanding the tools you have to utilize to help you go to the next level. And these are spiritual tools, and they're very practical tools that are related to your specific industry and what you specialize in. Straight away, you're going to start bringing up, as Anne says, in your sludge of your past, the negative ideas that are holding you where you are. And so when we start to process those, you start to free yourself up, and you can start to move around that flywheel. Okay, so the last thing I would like to say, just give yourself some time to get into these ideas. People study entrepreneurship, they study business mastery for years. And, sometimes they experience huge success. So when you give yourself time, what you're doing is you're allowing yourself, if you're constantly working on these ideas, that's the mastery process. You're becoming a master in the specific area that you are, practically on the physical plane, but also spiritually or consciously. You're creating a very strong space, sacred space in your mind to nurture your next idea, your $1 million idea, whatever it is that you want to manifest and bring into this world. So we have endless possibility to manifest. So thanks very much. Anne and I love you. This is a process of transformation. It's not a DIY job. You're not meant to be doing this on your own. So we always encourage people to join a group, join a practical group that will be able to help you in this journey of understanding how to utilize your mind to your best. And we recommend that you read our book. We've written a book recently, Anne and I, called 7 Committed Decisions That Made Us Millions. It is quite a big title, but when you read the story, which people are reading the book and they're enjoying it, they're saying they're getting a lot out of it. This was the process. When I was 35 years old, I lost everything, moved to Australia, and within a couple of years lost everything in 2 failed businesses in Sydney, and had to find my way back to financial independence in brand new country. I've got no qualifications other than I'd opened a few businesses in my life, and so that process of how to get from zero. In fact, I had less than zero because I owed a friend of mine some money for a long time. I only paid him a few years ago. Once we had sold that business that we started, the business that we recovered on, my wife and I. But the story is also my business partner, Anola Harris's story as well. And hers is very special because although I followed a very practical way of, a very logical way of working our way back, Anne was a very logical person. She was a corporate lady. Her and her husband and her family moved to Australia. She'd always wanted from the UK. She always wanted to live in Australia. And they thought they were financially set. And when they got here, they hit a massive wall. Financially, they were taken by a not a very savory character in one of the big four. And they've recovered since. But her story is very special because her journey is a very spiritual journey. So it's a great book. You've got this masculine and feminine, you've got this logical and spiritual process of recovery. 2 people that have moved back to, well, I'd moved back to Australia, I'm Australian born, and have moved to Australia. And we both experienced this. We didn't know each other then, but we thought when we formed our company that it would be the right thing to do, write this book. So if you'd like to download that book, go to our website and just click on the link in the resources area, and you'll see we've got a couple of books in there. But the 7 Committed Decisions is a great resource. We've added a couple of short videos to explain the concepts further, and we hope that you enjoy it. So thanks very much for listening.